Good morning. As you can see, I am not at home. We are actually in Whistler celebrating Kian's birthday. We're actually going to fit in some skiing. And typically on Tuesdays, I usually have a brick workout. But because I had such a big weekend and my knees kind of gave out on me, and the ride with my friends on Sunday was a lot longer than anticipated, I did not want to chance it with this interval ride. So I left my bike at home, and also too, I had the sleep last night. Baby next door was crying. It was just too hot for me to try and get comfortable. I didn't have my pillow, and also I probably had caffeine too late in the day, so I was pretty wired. Today I'm feeling like all sorts of just tiredness, and I was really hoping that I would get a good sleep so that I would feel refreshed and recovered, ready to go skiing. And I actually wanted to just at least fit in an easy run today and kind of explore the area, because the scenery here with all like the trails and the forest, it's super beautiful. But I'm like, okay, you know what, I'm just not gonna push it because sleep is so important, and I know my body is not 100%, so I'm gonna have to skip the brick workout today. I'm still moving my body. I'm gonna get in some skiing, so at least there's that. But I'm hoping that by Thursday I'll be able to do a little bit of riding. I'm gonna test it out and see how it goes, because you know, I don't want to push it, especially with this knee. On my Sunday ride, it actually wasn't too bad because we just stayed on the flats, but again, I don't want to push it. Like doing a little bit of squat still kind of hurts the knee. So I'll see how Thursday's cycling goes. I'm going to test out the knee, and hopefully I'll be good to go for my next long ride. So it is time for a midweek check-in, and I'm not gonna lie, I am kind of struggling with my training. Now that we are at peak Ironman 70.3 training, it's definitely harder to keep up with fueling. I find that I have to fuel a lot more for these longer workouts, and it's a lot more than what I'm used to, so it is kind of difficult. And I'm starting to find that my energy keeps getting lower and lower, and then that leads to a harder time to recover, which is not great. We do not want that. So it is time to get back on that and just make this my main priority, especially in prep for this weekend, because it is another big weekend with a 4-hour ride. So it's essentially the same workout as last weekend. So I just want to make sure that I am properly fueling and hydrating in prep for that workout. So that being said, I wasn't feeling the most energized this week, especially with, you know, the lack of sleep that I was getting in Whistler. So then yesterday, instead of doing a swim workout as well as my progression run, I decided to do an easy bike ride. And then earlier today, I did my swim. In a little bit, I'll be doing my progression run. I also mentioned in my last video that my knee was starting to hurt after all that climbing. Thankfully, my knee is feeling better. I'll see how it goes in today's progression run. And if it starts to hurt, I'll probably stop, because I did find during my long run on Sunday, and this was like fresh off after that long ride, that my knee was starting to give a little when I would push the pace. Now my knee was feeling a little bit better during yesterday's ride. There was a few like pinches here and there, but it wasn't too concerning. So we'll see how today's run goes, and then yeah, if it hurts at any point, I'll peel back and then just run it easy. I don't want to push it and overreach, because the last thing I want is to injure myself. So now I'm just gonna have some toast to fuel me up for my run. So today's speed workout is going to be a progression run. I'm going to start with 15 minutes of easy running, and then some drills and strides. And then we're going to have 40 minutes of work, where I'm going to start with 70.3 race pace, and then work my way down to tempo pace, which is just a tad bit faster than my typical half marathon pace. Oh my gosh, it is so windy. So I'm kind of feeling a little bit of a pinch in my right knee, which is not good. So I'm gonna have to play the first set by ear and see how it goes. And if it hurts, I'm either gonna peel it back or just stop entirely. Speed workout done and dusted, and that run actually felt so strong energy-wise. I think that's what happens when you actually fuel enough for a workout. But overall, knee was feeling okay, like a little bit of a pinch here and there, but it actually wasn't as bad as last weekend. So I think it's getting better. I did make sure to stay conservative and not push it too much, because again, I don't want to overreach just in case, you know, I might push it too much and then injure myself. But yeah, I felt really good with this run. So let's talk about how to calculate your different paces when it comes to training, all the different types of run workouts, as well as your race pace. So in some of my workouts I've mentioned, particularly my speed workouts, I talk about how I'm scheduled to do, you know, an interval run at race pace, or I have to do it at tempo pace. And so thankfully Motive has a calculator to calculate all that, and I don't have to figure it out myself. And so what I really like about this Motive app is, you know, when you first start out on this program, it asks you, you know, what your recent race times are. So for example, I think my most recent race time before signing up for this was a 10K. So I had put in my recent race result, and then it actually spat out a bunch of different racing guidelines for the run pace. So as you can see here in the racing guidelines, it will show you, you know, what kind of effort you should be having for all these different events. It also gives you heart rate, bike power, and then your pacing here. I think my recent race time that I had put in, because I had a 3K time trial, this is what the new ranges were. And so if you take a look at here, there's like all the different paces for the run events, and then it goes into your triathlon pace ranges here in the training plan. So if I look at like a previous one, let me see which one has an interval run. As you can see, for example, it'll actually give you the target ranges of what you need to hit for that particular workout. So for this one, I think this was a progression run, and so it would say, you know, 15 minutes at target race pace, and then there's your target range that you want to try and hit, and then so on and so forth. This is what I really like about following this plan. Like, in no way would I have been able to figure out my ranges if I did this on my own. Sure, if I was just training for a marathon or half marathon, I probably would be able to figure it out because I have been running for so long. But because I'm completely new to this, like, it helps to have the structure and to figure out what my pace ranges are, because even though I know what my target range is for a half marathon alone, that doesn't necessarily mean that's going to translate to a half marathon within a 70.3 distance. It's definitely going to be a lot slower in a triathlon, especially coming off a 90K ride, for example. So that's what I really like here. I definitely would lean on, you know, apps to help calculate your pace, but at the end of the day, it is about your effort. And so trying to tune into your body to figure out, like, okay, this actually feels like a 3K or a 5K pace versus, you know, marathon effort. It's definitely there as a guideline, but at the end of the day, it's all about listening to your body and what feels comfortable on that given day. So now that I am less than 10 weeks away from race day, I thought that I would really try and nail down my nutrition and hydration, not just, you know, in prep for my workouts, but also just trying to nail them during my workouts, like my long ride and my long runs. And there's actually this website called Precision Hydration, and they actually have like a quiz that asks you, you know, like how much you sweat, cramps, your kind of like history when it comes to racing. And then it gives you like a fuel and hydration plan. If you take a look here, you know, it says like your race day plan, pre-race hydration, pre-race fueling, and then it kind of gives you a recommendation of like, okay, what to do when you're swimming, how much to take when you're biking, when you're running. And so if you click the question mark here, it gives you more information, which I really love. And they also do have their own products. So they do give you like this personalized taster pack of what kind of electrolyte capsules you can take, what kind of gels you can take. Now, I don't want to spend more money than I have already spent, and so I'm just going to utilize what I have. So I've got the Morden gels, I've already got Noon electrolytes. So I'm essentially just kind of converting what they're prescribing here and trying to figure out like how many noon tablets I need that will equal the amount of sodium that they're prescribing me on this race day plan. And so I've got like a bunch of notes here in terms of like what to take every half hour or so. So like, for example, it says here I have to take about 60 grams of carbs every hour. And so when it comes to the Morden gel, and I have the 160 pack, I would need about a gel and a half. So I could technically take like a 160 gel and then a 100 gel, because I know Kian orders the Morden 100. So I'm just trying to figure out like, okay, what do I need to take every half hour or so in order to hit the amount of carbs? I'm just trying to figure that out so that way I can prep, because now that we're about less than 2 months until race day, this is when I really want to nail down my prep in terms of like, okay, how much sodium do I need to take? I want to be able to nail down what I can control, so that I'm ready when it comes to the actual race day.
Oh, look who it is.
Good morning.
Time for another long ride. We've got 4 hours on the agenda today. At least it's not raining.
4-hour ride before our race.
True. Last 4-hour ride before our race. Just taking a quick pit stop. Our current time is 3:32 and we are at 77 kilometers. The goal is to try and hit 90K, so hopefully we can hit that in 4 hours. And if we do, it's gonna be like my longest outdoor ride to date, or actually my longest ride ever. Guys, we did 90K, my first 90K. Woohoo! We did it.
Holy shit.
90K riding,
7K running.
7K running. My legs. Oh my gosh. I cannot believe I just did 90K of riding and then a 45-minute brick run right after that. Another personal record, guys, but holy crap, did I learn a lot of lessons. So the nutrition plan didn't go as well as I had hoped. My initial plan was supposed to have like this every hour, and then I was supposed to have some liquid carbs in a 750 milliliter bottle, which is this, but because I had gotten a new water bottle cage, this could like barely fit. I could barely take it out. And this morning I was just such in a rush and in such a panic mode that I was like, oh my God, never mind, I need to switch this out. And I ended up using a 500 milliliter water bottle. So I didn't have enough liquid carbs in there. By the time I got to my run, I was feeling lightheaded. And that's when I knew, oh shoot, I did not eat enough. Despite like the break that we had at the bakery, we had donuts. We split a donut and then we split the almond croissant, but I still don't think I had enough electrolytes in me. And that has kind of been my problem when I was marathon training. So I really need to stay on top of that. And the fact that I brought some nutrition with me and I didn't eat it all just shows that like I should have stayed on top of my nutrition, especially because I didn't have enough liquid carbs in that water bottle. So lesson learned, but the biggest ride of my training season is now over. And so now the rides are gonna get a little bit shorter. And so now I'm just taking some protein for recovery because I know my muscles need it. The ride today was 4 hours long, and Montana and I were talking about how we had a goal of hitting 90K because I knew if I were to hit that distance, then I'd be confident to ride that distance on race day. And so there were a few segments where we had pushed it, and we pushed at her race pace, which was pretty hard for me because she's a strong cyclist and I was like trying really hard to keep up. After that, we decided to keep it easy on our way back home. And I believe we had just made it. We did hit 90K. However, the total time was 4:07. Now, to be fair, there are a few parts where we pushed it, but most of the ride was fairly easy. So I'm pretty confident that going into race day, I'll be able to push at race pace and hopefully hit that 4-hour goal. I mean, I don't really have a time goal. I just do want to complete it. And I do have to take into account that this course is rolling hills and it's not all flat. I got to remember that there's going to be hills involved in this course. And then the 45-minute brick run, we ended up running around 7K. And then I did start feeling a little lightheaded towards the end of the ride, but I didn't really think anything of it. But yeah, during the run, it was a little bit of a struggle bus. I just got to make sure that even though I might not need it on the ride, I got to eat enough so that I've got the fuel for my run. Last workout of the training week, and we've got a 2-hour long run ahead of us. First gel break. Second gel break. Third gel break. Race pace done. Time for a 10-minute cool down. Oh my goodness. I just ran a half marathon. I cannot believe I just ran a half marathon during my 2-hour long run. I knew it was going to be close and it was going to all depend on how I felt with my sleep, how much I was eating beforehand and pre-run. And thankfully all I had scheduled for the day was just this long run. So I decided to sleep in and, I had a big breakfast and surprisingly the run went really well. 70 minutes of it was at easy effort and thankfully I felt really good that my pace was kind of like, oh, it's a little faster than usual. Now to be fair, I was testing out some potential race shoes, so the responsiveness from those shoes helped quite a bit. So I think part of it was from that. And then even during like the race pace portion, I was like, oh, this feels really good. I think the only thing that I could have done better was probably bring in more nutrition. What I did was I took a 160 gel and then a 100 gel. I knew if I took the whole 160 that I would get a side stitch because it happened to me last time. It was just way too much all in one go. So I was like, okay, maybe I'll just cut the 160 in half and take that every 30 minutes. And then the last one, which was the 100, I would take. And I could tell I was like fading a little bit and that I needed more energy. So that kind of tells me, okay, maybe I should just stick to the 100 gels during my runs because I feel like that just has enough energy and carbs to keep me going rather than cutting half of the 160 gel, which makes it like just shy of what I need, especially if I'm running at race pace. So I think for the next long run, it's going to be every half hour and I'll be taking the 100 gel. So lesson for next time. So this concludes another training week and I cannot believe the weekend that I just had. I accomplished a 90K ride that I never thought I could, and then I ended up doing a half marathon. So I'm pretty confident in doing the distance for the race. Now, can I do it all in one day? Who knows? Only time will tell. But I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you in a later one. Bye!